Hello and welcome back to another color theory video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the spaces HSL and HSV. I will be using display entities as well as a resource pack that I made that has fully saturated colors in it. Here we have a standard RGB color model. I'm using X, Y, and Z as my red, green, and blue color axes. And so down the middle of this RGB space, we have the desaturated colors, or all the gray tones. And if we look down this axis, we actually have our color wheel. So we have the primary colors, red, green, and blue. Their complementary colors, yellow, magenta, and cyan. And then between all of them, then we have the tertiary colors. So 6 of those in total. So RGB isn't necessarily the easiest for humans to deal with numbers-wise. It's hard to look at the numbers and actually see in your mind what that would represent. You have to have a lot of experience to do that. So one of the ways that we can make this easier for humans to deal with is if we take these desaturated tones in the middle and we stand them upright. And then we take all of the colors and we put them into a disc. And so now we have this circular disc in the middle of all of this, and we have the desaturated tones going down the middle. And this color space is HSL, or hue, saturation, and lightness. So we have our hue going all the way around here, and we just talk about this in degrees of an angle. So like a circle, we have red at 0, and we have this lime color at 90 degrees, the cyan at 180, and this magenta at like 270 degrees. As you move in towards the center, your color gets desaturated. If you move up, it gets lighter, and if you move down, it gets darker. And the top and bottom of these are actually disc. So you can think of this whole area down here as all one color. It's all pure black, and this is all pure white. And as we move up and down, then we're getting to light or dark. If we remove the top portion here, make it go away, and then we raise these saturated tones all the way up to the top. Now this is the color space of HSV, or hue, saturation, and value, which is basically the same thing, but we have our same color wheel and they talk about the same angles. So 0 for red, 180 for cyan, and everything goes around. And then you get desaturated tones as you go in towards the middle, except only this middle point is white. And then as you go down, you get to darker tones, and still you get desaturated as you go in towards the middle. So if we filled in the color, if we cut through this space, like taking a slice and going through this space here from the purple over to the lime green and down and around, you get something like this. So you can see that you have your fully saturated colors. It becomes lighter in the middle, desaturated or darker as you go down, and desaturated as it goes in towards the center. If we take this little piece and take it off to the left here, this is usually what you see in most image editing software when you're picking color. So in Photoshop, if you have your color picker open, you have your HSB. B is brightness, or percentage, instead of value for V. But if we put 270, which is the purple color that we had, and then I'm all the way in the top corner, I'm fully saturated, fully bright. And if I become less saturated, you can see that the S number is the only number that is changing. And if you look at the RGB numbers, multiple numbers are changing. It's because you have to go diagonal in the RGB space. Same thing as if I go down, then my S is changing and my B or V is changing, and my RGB, I still have 2 RGB values are changing. So for the HSL and HSV, it's very easy if you want to just have a less saturated color, just to move one number, and you can understand, okay, I have to go inwards, I have to lower this number, or I have to go down to get to a darker color. So that's why these are favorable for working with color pickers and humans trying to pick out spaces. You can see that this is your actual R color wheel, starting off at angle 0 and going around the circle all the way till we get back to, well, 0. All right, so let's get some real Minecraft blocks in here. Okay, so I'm going to make this space a little bit bigger before we get some blocks in here. And we're going to go back to HSL map, color space. All right, and then let's load in some blocks. And here we go. Just for the sake of demonstration right now, these are only 6-sided blocks that have the same texture on all, each faces. And I think there's some overlap in the middle here. In reality, you'd want to have this a little bit bigger so you'd actually see everything. I just think it looks nice to be relatively tight when we're talking about the color. But you can see how all of the colors, all the blocks align with their angles and everything, and how you get really saturated colors, you get darker colors down below, and you get brighter colors up top. All right, let me get rid of these and we can change over to HSV. Man, it'd be really cool if I did this all as entities and you could actually see them move around. I'll be right back. Okay, so I ran into the character limit for command blocks, but I've worked around that. So now let's spawn in my colors and spawn in all the blocks as entities. And so now we should be able to see the shift. I haven't tried this out yet. If we go to RGB, yes, there's probably some overlaps here. Yeah, you can see that there's multiple blocks in this space. That probably happens a couple times in here. But now we can shift from this to HSL. Crazy. And this will really help us see the difference between HSL and HSV. Why is it replaying those? Oh, because they're in the same spot. Let me fix that. Okay, there's some weird issue with display entities. And if you're applying a translation to it, if you're applying a translation to it, but it's already at the position that it needs to go to, for some reason it plays the previous animation that it did. And I'm not exactly sure why there's these two spaces, but I've had to adjust things a little bit to take care of it a different way. So now if we go between HSL, very cool. You can see these colors up there start to spread out. Bizarre. That looks really bizarre. Not used to seeing blocks move like that in Minecraft. So I think this is going to be really cool. So I do plan to include these color spaces in the color world. I'm not releasing that just yet because this is only the 6-sided blocks. I would like to entirely revamp the 120 world so it includes these color spaces. I'm not sure if I'll do the animations now because right now these are not real blocks. You can just fly through them and you can't pick them. You can't middle click and pick a block. And I really prefer that so that you can just pick colors when you're building a palette. So I might be able to try to fudge some things to make it work, but for right now, I'm just going to watch this go back and forth for a little bit. Let's do HSL. That's really fascinating. So you see all of what is normally entirely white up here would be a disk. All of the lighter stuff is moving towards the center. Really cool. I'm not sure which one I like the best. Let me look at this one. Let me try HSL. Very neat. You get more clumped colors in the middle because of that. I think I prefer HSV, even though now I have it labeled as B. Okay. So I know people are going to ask for a world download of this, so I am going to provide it. This is not an official release of the color world, but I decided to do everything still in vanilla Minecraft. So I am in the 1.20 pre-release 5 is what you need to be. This will probably work on 1.20 and above and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm thinking I will include the resource pack that I made for retexturing all of these candles so that you have your primary colors and everything in there. So I would also like to thank Reddit user Metatommy. He's been doing some really crazy things with these display entities, a lot of text display stuff, and he's been very helpful. I've helping me out when I've run into some issues where things weren't working properly. So thank you, Metatommy. And I'm probably going to include some of his stuff in a future video because it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's really bonkers stuff. And I'm very excited about this. This is like really cool. I'm still not used to seeing blocks move like this smooth in Minecraft. All right, so now I'm just playing around. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.